Hello and welcome everyone to Quick Album Reviews. I'm the one who left the keys upon the table, CJ Metal, and today I'm questioning your trust in my self-righteous suicide. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm reviewing Toxicity by System of a Down today. I have been rather hesitant to review a System of a Down album, mainly because I'm not a huge fan of theirs. I know a lot of people really like System of a Down, and I'm not saying they're a bad band. I mean, for an album that was released all the way in 2001, it's better than a lot of albums being released this year or today, which is kind of sad because you would think as the years progressed, music would evolve to be something better than it was originally, but no, most of us go back to the earlier days of metal, and it's kind of weird to listen to stuff like this that was produced only 20 years ago, but it's better than a lot of stuff that's coming out 20 years later, if that makes sense. I mean, I even found myself enjoying songs from System of a Down I've never heard of on this album, like X, Deer Dance, Prison Song, and Forest. I never really got into System of a Down, so I never really heard these songs, and even I'm like, damn, these are good songs. As I mentioned before, I'm not really a huge fan of System of a Down. I only say that because I haven't heard the rest of their discography. I've only heard this album in its entirety, so I'm not sure how this one compares to the rest of them. I'm assuming this one is probably one of their best ones, I guess. I don't know. I know a lot of people rave about this album, and I can see why. I do really like the riffs and lyrics on this album. There's a lot of headbanging moments and also just a lot of catchy songs, especially the goddamn song Chop Suey, that motherfucker song. Oh, I mean, it's impossible not to headbang during Chop Suey. It's just not possible. Even if you have a fucking broken neck, you will headbang to Chop Suey because you just have to. I also think this album does an excellent job of displaying that serious lyrics and themes can also be formatted over really catchy metal and just music in general. I mean, the themes on here can get kind of dark, but at the same time, the music's also really catchy. So I think this album also does a good job of formatting serious themes, but in a way that appeals to a lot of people at the same time. And I really have to give this album props and the band props for, making an album like this that is serious, but at the same time can also be, what's the word? Understood, I guess, or, it's portrayed in a fun way. It's kind of a weird situation for me to rate this album because on the one hand I enjoyed it, but as mentioned earlier, their music never really connected with me, which is why I'm not really necessarily a huge fan of theirs. But on the other hand, from a technical point of view, this album is pretty fantastic. It's kind of always hard to rate albums because there's the personal aspect, but then there's also the technically aspect, so usually I do a combo of both, but I really think for this one, I have to go with the technical point of view because I feel it's more accurate. With that in mind, I'm going to say this album is great / excellent. There are a few other big name bands that don't connect with me for one reason or another. System of a Down just happened to be one of them. But at the same time, I can't deny that they make some really good music. I'm sure you all have, those big name bands that you're supposed to like, but you don't for one reason or another. Some people don't like Korn, Slipknot, Cannibal Corpse, Lamb of God, any of those kind of like really big name bands that, you're supposed to like, but you just don't. That's kind of like how I feel about System of a Down. But, that's just me. Anyways, thank you all for listening. Please like and subscribe and make sure you tell a friend to do the same. If you haven't already, please check out my quarantine album list. I spent a lot of hours making those things and they were a bitch to do. The final draft was like 8 pages of albums. Yeah, there's a lot of albums, and I think across like the 3 videos, I want to say it's 30 minutes of just albums. So, go check those out. And I will see you all at the next review.